This is 14-year-old sportswriter William Scott. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, everybody. In this show, I'll go over all my BCS scenarios for the teams that still have a shot of getting into the title game. So we'll start with number one, Notre Dame. They probably have the easiest way again. All they have to do is beat USC this weekend in Southern California. But I mean, then if they win that game, they're in the title game, no doubt. But I think they have to get past. I mean, people are looking at the game saying, "Oh, there's no way Notre Dame's going to lose." I mean, they're facing their redshirt freshman quarterback, not much experience in playing time for him. But I really think that USC has a shot to win this game. So it'll be very interesting Saturday night at USC. Number two, Alabama. They control their own destiny like Notre Dame. All they have to do is beat Auburn, who is winless in the SEC, and if Auburn doesn't win that game, then they'll probably fire Gene Chizik. So it might be a play for the coach game, something like that. We'll see. And then they have to beat. If they win that game, they play Georgia in the SEC championship game. They have to win that as well. So like Notre Dame, they control their own destiny, and they have definitely all they have to do is win out, and they're in the title game. Number three, Georgia. They're like Alabama and Notre Dame. All they have to do is win all their games, and they're in the championship game. They have to beat Georgia Tech this weekend, and then play Alabama or LSU or A&M, whoever it is, in the SEC championship game. So they have to beat Georgia Tech and then win the SEC championship game, and they are in the national championship game. And so I mean, but Georgia Tech, that's not going to be an easy game for Georgia. It'll be very interesting. Number four, Florida. Now it kind of gets tough for these teams. It's going to be tough to get in for Florida. They have to have Notre Dame lose, which is a possibility. And then if that happens, they win out and play, and they have to beat Florida State. That's their last game, and that's not going to be an easy game at all. I think Florida State's actually is going to come away with the victory in that game in Tallahassee. But they have to have Notre Dame lose, and if that's the case, they'll probably play either Alabama or Georgia in the title game. So we could be looking at an all SEC title game again, like last year was LSU and Alabama. It could definitely be Florida, Alabama, or even a rematch between Florida and Georgia. We'll see. Oregon. They have to beat Oregon State. Not going to be easy. And then possibly one in the Pac-12 championship. We'll see how that Stanford UCLA goes. We'll see how that Stanford UCLA game goes this weekend. But they have to have Florida State to beat Florida, Notre Dame to lose to USC, and then they'll play either Alabama or Georgia if everything falls into place for those two teams in the championship game. So definitely still very good shot for Oregon to get in. Number six, Kansas State. They have to have Oregon State to beat Oregon, or UCLA to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Florida State to beat Florida, definitely a big possibility right there. And for USC to beat Notre Dame. That all happens, they'll probably face either Alabama or Georgia in the championship game. So it's looking very well. It's looking very good for the SEC at this moment. And then, this is probably the toughest. LSU fans, don't give up hope, because there's still a chance that you can get into the title game. But here it is. I have to beat Arkansas, first of all, today. They need Georgia Tech to beat Georgia, Florida State to beat Florida, Oregon State to beat Oregon, Texas to beat Kansas State, Georgia Tech to beat Florida State in the ACC championship game, because Florida State can definitely still challenge you, even though you're ranked ahead of them. And then Georgia Tech, and then of course Georgia to beat Alabama in the SEC championship game. Now, don't forget, I said Georgia Tech has to beat Georgia. If that happens, Georgia's going to fall out of contention, probably fall back 6 or 7 spots, maybe even out of the top 10, 9 or 10 spots, something like that. So what they do is they have to move up to the 4th spot this weekend, maybe just in front of Kansas State. And for Kansas State to lose, who's probably be number 5 behind them, you need Kansas State to lose, and then you need Alabama to lose. If that happens, you could slip into that number 2 spot and play Notre Dame in the title game. It's a very slim chance, but don't forget, in 2007, you were ranked number 7 and needed 3 teams to lose in front of you in 1 week, including Pitt, who's only won 4 games all year at that time, to beat number 2 West Virginia. And that all happened, and you went to the national championship and beat Ohio State. It's very possible for LSU still to get into the title game. It's a slim chance, but it can happen. And number 10, Florida State. It basically needs to happen all. The computers hate Florida State. But they're number 5 in the USA Today poll, number 5. But the computers hate Florida State. That's really gonna hurt them. Even if Florida State does win out and LSU wins out, and all that happens for LSU, I think LSU would still be chosen in front of Florida State just because the computers dislike Florida State. They really need a big win at Florida this weekend to kind of have the computers kind of favor them a little bit. So they basically need the LSU scenario to happen and for them to win out. And maybe even LSU to lose to Arkansas, which is probably not going to happen. So it's very, very, very slim for Florida State to get into the national title game. All right, thank you for watching. This was 14-year-old sports writer William Scott. Should be very, very interesting in the BCS, especially if Notre Dame goes down. It's going to be close. Max Whittick, look out for him. I think he might be even better. I think he might be even better for USC. Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley's been really struggling lately. Max Whittick, number 3 overall prospect for quarterbacks. He could be definitely a big threat for the Notre Dame defense. Monte Te'o and all them. Thank you for watching. This was 14-year-old sports writer William Scott.